And listen, this is episode number 2. And so a plug to Link Library. If you are in the Greeley area and you want to come and check out their studio, their podcast room, all of that, I want you to get with my man, Joshua Valdez. It's amazing. You can come and record. He does all the work. All you do is show up with a script, and that's all it is. Marie, do us a huge favor. Look at... Listen, we're just going to be authentic and vulnerable and transparent. We just want to know, let the people know who you are, where you're coming in from, a little bit of what you do, and then we're going to dive into conversation.
My name's Marie Warren, and I was born and raised in Longmont, Colorado, and moved to Greeley in 2021, about the same time you did.
Yeah.
And I am a local realtor, but I do work all along the Front Range, all along I-25. I don't care to go to Colorado Springs or Cheyenne. I can't work in Cheyenne, so I don't go to Cheyenne. But Colorado Springs is pretty much the cutoff. Like you said, I'm a networking fool.
She's a networker. She's not a fool. She is thebomb.com.
Thank you.
I just love her so much. We connected, I think, the first time that we really met. She came to a networking group that I'm a part of, and just some words that we exchanged. It was like I saw the light bulb go off like, okay, this guy's maybe being real, or maybe this guy has a booger in his nose. I don't know. But whatever it was, we connected, and I think it's just been phenomenal. Tell us a little bit about your business. What is your focus? Why did you even get into being a realtor? What's your passion behind it? Let's have that conversation.
Ooh, you want authenticity here.
Yes,
Okay, well,
let's go.
I had no intentions of ever being in real estate. I actually went to college and got a bachelor's degree in adult fitness and exercise science, but that did not work out. And so I fell into real estate and loved it. It's just crazy how God works. What I am sort of working into as far as a specialty, and I really don't want to narrow down my focus because I love all buyers and sellers.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I'm going to take work.
Yeah.
Because work is work. But I am trying to move into more of the aging population. Number one, we've got the great generational wealth transfer. So a lot of our baby boomers are, getting up into the age of having to transition into assisted living, independent living, and unfortunately, like memory care and things like that. And they have homes to sell. And we all know that the aging population is one of the demographics that is preyed upon more so than any other demographic. They're taking advantage of the scams, all of those things. And I went through it with my grandparents in 2022. My grandmother went into memory care and grandfather into assisted living, and we had to sell their home. And it was very fast because when we're aging, you go from okay to not okay, sometimes overnight. Wow. And my mom and her siblings had to make the decision quickly, and so within a blink of an eye, we were selling all of their belongings or throwing it away or donating it, and in the matter of a month, it really resonated, it impacted me negatively. And so knowing I've been through that and knowing what people go through and my love for the aging population, I felt a calling for this demographic. And I know that if you call me to help sell your grandmother's home or your parents' home or your sister's home or your brother's home, what have you, they're going to be in great hands and they're going to be okay and protected. Like I said, work is work, and I love all buyers and sellers, but this is the area that I have been focusing on this year.
I love the heart behind it because Holly and I, my wife, we experienced that when her mom passed away. It was, okay, what do we do with all mom's stuff? Just like you said, it's that traumatic area, like, oh my gosh, what do we do with this, right? How do we maneuver through that? And so we do want to touch on that part of it as well, like the whole personal side behind it. But I can relate to that because for years, because I had been around older people at right about 30 to about 45. So I knew the process. I don't think Holly really understood the process. And I'm like, listen, she's already getting up in age. She was already in her 80s. And I said, you guys are going to have to prepare for that time. I've been around Alzheimer's patients and dementia and diabetes and all of that at an older age, and it's not pretty. It's not easy. And so I don't think they really understood the concept. They're like, no, she's going to live forever. Like we always say that, right? Oh,
Yeah.
mom's going to live forever. The day came, mom didn't live forever.
Yeah.
And so I love the fact that that's your passion behind it. Because like you said, I can work with anybody and I'm not going to turn down work. But your heart behind it, that's what this podcast is all about. It's about the heart of why we're in business,
Yeah.
right? And so as you were becoming a realtor, did you ever think that this would be your niche,
No.
customer or client or anything like that? What
No.
were you expecting when you first started?
I didn't have any expectations when I first started because it was so foreign to me. It was nothing that I ever thought I would be doing in my life. So all I did was hit the ground running and just looking for buyers and sellers, anybody and everybody. And I did well. And then you start hearing niche and focus and specialty. And, you know, like I said, I don't really want to narrow it down. Work is work. I hate to repeat myself, but it's true. But then I started doing my volunteer work with Senior Resources of Broomfield. I lived in Broomfield for 20 years, raised my kids there, and we were very involved with the aging community. And then I moved to Greeley, and I got involved with 60 Plus Ride, and it's transportation for anybody 60 and over. So I love the grandmas, the grandpas, the aging population, and I just thought I wanted to be there to help other families go through this.
Yeah.
And what I've experienced is not only do the kids of these people are not prepared, but it is so difficult for the folks themselves who are having to go through this transition to go through that transition. They don't want to.
Right.
They want to stay home. They don't understand. Everything they've worked for their entire lives,
Yeah.
they have to give up. They have to let go. This is very hard because, you know, I know some people who invest in long-term living. They have these things you can invest in.
Right.
Not everybody does that. You know, when you raise your kids and you look back, it's like, oh my God, that happened in the blink of an eye. Well, we age in the blink of an eye.
Tell me about it.
And before we know it, we can't take care of ourselves. We can't cook for ourselves.
Yeah.
Or God forbid you end up with Alzheimer's and you don't know where you are. For example, my grandmother was leaving the home because she didn't believe she was home and was trying to get back to Mazzupa, Minnesota. This is dangerous.
Problem.
It's not something you can't stay in the home. So it's not a good situation.
That's why we have these conversations. And that's why I'm passionate about it is what's the why? And I know we hear it all the time. All of the content creators like myself and coaches and all of that. What's the why? And people get tired of the why.
Yeah.
I have a buddy of mine that was my client for years and he recently signed back on. But I was asking why about 6 times. You know, I want to get plugged into the local church. Okay, why? Because I want to volunteer. Okay, but why? Because it's what we're supposed to do as Christians. Okay, why?
Yeah.
It's what I'm supposed to do. I said, you're making it a job.
Yeah.
Serving God shouldn't be a job. It's a want. And so we finally got to the end of the why, or close to the end of the why. He's like, I don't like the whys. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
And he's like, because it makes you think. And I'm like, why? And he's like, stop. And I said, why? He couldn't get to the end result. And so I helped him through that to help him to understand. I said, listen, why are you in business? To provide. Why? So we got to the end of why he's in business, financial freedom, make his own schedule, serve people, all of the things.
Yeah.
So you want to become a volunteer. Why? So you can connect with more people.
Yeah.
But in your mind, you're thinking, that's not a churchy thing to do. I'm doing it to serve the people. Yeah, so is your business. And he's like, oh, I never realized that. I'm like, yeah, once you plug in with people, guess what? Now you're going to be able to go to a Bible study, a life group, whatever. You're going to connect with more people. They want to know why you do what you do.
Yeah.
So let's look at the why, the passion. I could sense like part of you is like, I'm going to hold back the tears because we're on a podcast, but I'm tired of seeing people go through this BS.
Yeah.
Like that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It's like I'm tired. So how do we prepare the people?
Yeah.
Here's what I hear as you're saying this, those 3 different areas that you volunteer, 60 plus rides, all of that. Why do you give back so much? What's
In this
that why?
particular situation for the aging adults is because they're often forgot about. How often do you see fundraising for animals and for kids and the hunger? We see commercials about it. And we see drives all the time, and you don't see that for aging adults. And another story I have is a woman I helped take care of. She was able to actually stay in her home, and she had Alzheimer's, and she died in her home, which was a beautiful thing. But before they had care come in, they were malnourished
Wow.
because they couldn't cook for themselves, and they weren't paying attention to the dates on their leftovers. So they weren't eating well. They weren't being properly nourished.
Right.
They weren't bathing themselves. Her toenails were very long. I mean, very long.
Wow.
And I remember growing up always being told, don't forget about the seniors on your block. Always check in with them because
Right.
they're in the house. Sometimes they lose their ability to drive. And when they lose their ability to drive, what happens? Your social life gets real small, and it comes down basically nothing. If you can't
Right.
drive, how are you going to get your groceries? If you can't drive, how are you going to get your medications? How are you going to get to the doctor? You're
Yeah.
very isolated. Yeah.
Wow.
And what's that saying? Out of sight, out of mind?
That's so good. And I can resonate with everything that you're saying because I'm getting older. My wife's getting older. We're looking at our ages. You know, she's a little bit older than me. And she's like, oh my God, I'm about to turn this number. And I'm like, yeah, I told you when we got married, you will always be older than me, no matter how we look at it. And that's our joke. She doesn't like it all the time. But I've been telling her for the past few years, like, I can't lift sheetrock like I used to. I need help. And sometimes I'd rather just not do it than to
can't-
ask for the help.
I can't get off the floor like I used to. Like, you want me to sit on the ground?
Yeah, it's like, because we're thinking about how am I going to get up.
Yeah.
The getting down part is it's semi-easy.
It's a challenge, but getting up,
Getting up, you're like, okay, turn around so you don't see me getting up.
Yeah.
Because you got to kind of get on
roll
all
over
fours.
all fours. You know. Yep.
That's what I'm talking about is like we are getting older, and it's the mindset piece. I'm that guy that I'm constantly trying to look forward like, okay, I can't lift sheetrock like I used to. I can't bang a hammer like I used to. I can't do the things because my body hurts. Even my workouts. 6 months ago, I wasn't this plump, right? Health issues started coming and all of the things. So I had to pause from going hard in the gym to, okay, let me focus on my health.
Yeah.
If I could focus on my health, it's not that I don't care what I look like, but I'm not going to do it in a way that's going to kill me either.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I love that whole piece of that because you're helping people in this region, that older niche, right? Whatever we want to call it. But at the end of the day, your heart is people.
Yeah.
Your heart is people.
Yeah.
And to help them through that, Marie, that's huge. That's so huge.
Thank you.
So what would you speak to somebody right now and somebody who is trying to figure out what is my purpose in life? I know this is off the cuff because that's just how we do it around here. What would you say to that person that has helped you every single day to focus on my purpose, my assignment, my focus, my business, my family, and then how do you maneuver through that to stay focused on that one thing that's pointing you towards your purpose?
Well, I haven't gotten any of that mastered.
Right.
You know, and maybe the one thing that I have figured out is where I keep coming back to. And I keep coming back to the aging adult population.
Yeah.
And if I keep coming back to it and I know that that is what fills my cup at the end of the day, then why not keep moving in that direction? And what does it look like? I don't always know. I'm constantly putting feelers out there and trying to figure out, and I'm certainly not the number one realtor that the aging adults in Greeley go to yet. But I will be. And it all starts with action, and you just have to have a little bit of action every day to get there. But I would just pay attention to what you keep coming back to. Because sometimes the answer isn't as clear,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Especially when we're younger, right?
Yeah.
When we were 18, 20, 25, 30. we were doing life. Mm-hmm. You know,
Or life was doing us.
yeah. Like,
Really?
that's a whole nother podcast between you and I.
Yeah.
Okay? It's like you said, come back to the cup. When you come back to the cup, I've had to come back to the cup at least 5 times a day.
Yeah.
At sometimes, like, what's okay? Okay, it comes back down to serving God's people, even if they're not God's people, right?
And that's one thing I want to make sure and add is that sometimes the answer isn't going to come until you've got your spiritual connection.
Absolutely.
And I know that things didn't start to make sense to me until I really started to nurture my connection with God.
Amen.
And I fall off. I have fallen off,
Yeah.
but I get right back on.
Yeah.
And when I fall off, my life feels it. Everything feels off. There's a big hole inside. I'm lost. I'm doubting myself. I'm not good enough. All of those things.
Gotcha.
But when I've got my contact is on point, I just feel better.
You can't fail.
It's God's work.
This conversation has, I believe, has really inspired those who are watching. It has
hope so.
inspired me. So do us a huge favor. Do me a huge favor. Let us know how we can connect with you. Those of you who are in the local area or on socials. Maybe there's somebody that might be listening that's from New York saying, okay, I just need a 5-minute conversation with you. We never know, right?
Yeah.
We're here to serve. So how can we get in contact with you?
Well, my phone number, which is 303-884-2111. My email is marie@mariewarrenhomes.com. And then you can always get on my Facebook. That's easy. Marie Warren. Warren.
Love it.
Yeah.
And all of that information will be in the show notes and the description of this YouTube channel. So remember, I forgot to plug this in earlier. Come and check us out. Hit that subscribe. Hit the bell so you're notified whenever I do post any kind of reels or short clips or even the long form video. But we definitely want to see you back again. Maybe on the next one we get more into the personal side of Marie.
I love it.
If you're willing.
Absolutely.
What I love about you right now is you like put it out there. Here's my number. Wow. That's vulnerability and that's transparency. So
Be nice to me.
yes, no hackers, y'all. Okay. But listen, remember, plug in with Link if you're in the local area. Get with my man Joshua Valdez. He will lead you in the right direction. All of this space is available because we are here to build Greeley. All right. So that's all I got for today. Marie, love you.
Love you too.
Bless you. And thank you for coming on Activate Your Next Level.
Thank you.